Hello, my name is Roman, and this is my Fusion 360 tutorial, Fusion 360 Basics. So, for this tutorial, you're going to need a computer, obviously, and Fusion 360, which is a free program made by Autodesk. The link will be included in the description of this video. So this tutorial is going to be for the very beginning, or the very basics of Fusion 360. Now, if you used similar 3D modeling programs, you might excel faster in this, but I'm still going to be putting it at a very slow pace, or at least starting off, and then we're going to get like into everything together. So upon starting up, after logging into the program, you should be greeting with this. So this is the tool, or the workspace. So everything here is what you're going to be using to create STL files, which are 3D models that can be 3D printed or used in video games, like a bunch of different things. You can make SVG files, which are designs that can be converted to DXF files for multiple different uses. Most of those are 2D, and STL files being 3D. And of course, there's advanced modeling creation. You can even use a program to communicate with a drilling machine called a Carvey on here. There's a ton of stuff. But starting off, this is the very beginning, and we're just gonna get right into it. Alright, so what we're gonna go over first is the controls. So we have right now we're gonna start off with this. So this is the directional cube. It has XYZ, and just by grabbing onto it and rotating it, you can pivot around the field. So it's really simple. You just grab onto it, and yeah, it just moves around. You can also, so if let's say you had a design right here, you can move to the back of that design, get a view of that, or view it from the bottom or the top. So all you have to do is just hold any part of this cube and rotate it, and you will pivot around the workspace. So of course there's also these. If you notice these glow blue on certain parts, let's say you click the front, it would rotate to the front, or to diagonal, or the very top. Most of these are shown when there's a model here, so we're going to be going, once we have a model, we'll be using this a lot more. So let me click back on home. Alright, and now we're going to be going down here. Basically, this is really, really easy. So this home button puts you to the default location, just a diagonal view of the playing field, or the workspace. So now that we got that, we're going to go down here. So this is our tools for viewing models, but more like side to side, much less than that. Of course, there's also the orbit tool, same as this, except it's from the field. You can move it around. It's a lot more noticeable if you actually have a model there. Yeah. So yeah, orbit, and of course a look at, but that's for a certain object. You would be able to click that if it's like far away, and it would zoom towards it. And pan, which allows you to move up, right, side to side. It's mostly noticeable with something there. We'll be using those a lot later, along with zoom, which will zoom us further into it, and zoom window. Most of these you do not need to mess with. Orbit and pan are very useful to also look at, but for now we're just going to be using default controls. So we're going to be getting out of orbit, and we're going to be clicking on home. Yeah. So of course, if you ever get confused by anything, if you ever get like stuck in this, you can go back and click on select, and it'll put you back in the normal cursor tool. So starting off, we're going to be getting into it. So make sure that your workspace is on model. The rest of these will be covered in the future, or at least most of these will be covered in the future, but for now we're just going to be focusing on the model section of it. So in model, there's this bar. This is going to be our starting bar for this tutorial. So in this we have create sketch. Now you can set this up to create a sketch, and of course, like it says, you can enter sketch mode, creates a new sketch or a selected plane on face. So just by selecting this pops up. So clicking on create sketch creates this. So these are obviously XYZ directionals. That's showing us where we are. It's kind of a confusing perspective, but of course you can go up here and get a better view on what you're looking at. So starting off, we're just going to be doing this on the bottom. We will be getting side to side when we get more into modeling and sketching at the same time, but for now we're just going to be modeling on the ground. So Once you've selected the ground, this from Create Sketch, this should pop up. This is the sketch palette. Most of this we do not need to mess with at the moment unless you want to stop the sketch. At any moment or any point during you're creating a sketch or something and you need to get out of this, you can either rotate or do something else. You can go over it. Also, you can click up here. You can just click Stop Sketch, and it stops it, puts it back to your original position. But for that, we're going to create sketch. It also puts you in your previous position that you that you rotated beforehand. So if you were at home and you click the bottom layer that you're going to sketch on and you stop the sketch, it puts you back there. So for now, we're going to create a sketch on the bottom layer. So now that we have it like this, we are going to be sketching. So the second tool here, right to the right of the sketch tool, is the line tool. It creates lines and arcs. It's pretty straightforward. You select an endpoint to define a line segment and click and drag it to define the second point of it. So starting off here, we're going to be doing a little double square design. So this may be kind of complicated, just in case. If you're ready for it, this is we're going to go. All right, so select the center point. The center point should be right in the middle. It should have that logo on it. And once you've done that, this is attached to it. So this right here is the line that you've created from it, from the normal sketch tool. So just by selecting the center point, this gets attached to your cursor, and you have to select the center point. It's pretty confusing. The two numbers and the degrees you don't need to worry about, since there's a grid on the back of the Create Sketch workspace. So during a sketch, you get this really nice looking grid. So using this grid, we're going to just be going up two sets of 25 millimeters. You can also change if you want. Let me cancel this. Right button click, delete. You can instantly go to that. Right button click has a bunch of different menus, but we will be getting into more of the hotkeys later on. So if you ever want to change the way your document's set up, you can change the listed units to meters, centimeters, inches, or feet. But for now, we're going to be using millimeters as they are the default. So using the line tool, we're going to be selecting the middle and going up to 50 millimeters. Now that we're at the top, we're still attached to it, but it placed the first point to the second point. So this right down here to up there. So now we have we're going to stop this and we're going to click on this. So this green check mark instantly stops our line from continuing and leaves this line in position. So this right here, this is the first line created in Fusion 360. This is the start to 3D models, SVG files, little decorations on 3D models, a bunch of stuff. It's great. So we're going to be going back to the top view and scrolling up, and we're going to position that back. The pan tool, very useful. Also, as a bind key, in case you're using a mouse instead of a trackpad, you can middle click, and that instantly attaches it to the pan tool. So just a heads up. Cool. So back into the line tool, selecting that. Easy as that, as I just did. Just very easy going from line to and just selecting it, and it just puts there. So from select to line is really easy. It's pretty much instant. So we're going to select this bottom piece here, and we're going to be doing a 25 across. So mark it out 25 and put that across. Click the green check mark. So we have an L shape here, almost done. So now we're going to go at the top, do the exact same, and this is another little trick when it comes to lines that is very, very useful. So going across here, and as seen right here, you're trying to get it exact. So you're trying to get it like matched up with the bottom, but very simply, if it does match up with the bottom, you'll get this little segmented blue line that is attached to it. So if you just put that there, it is exactly aligned with the bottom. This line shows up that is exactly aligned with it, which is very, very useful. So we're going to go from the bottom to the top and complete that segmented line, creating a full shape. Now this full shape that we have here can now be extruded. How it works in Fusion is that if you have a full shape together, all you need to do is complete the shape in its entirety, and you can turn that into a 3D model depending on the shape. So lots of other ways you can create 3D models, but if you want to make something that's like you're tracing something, this would be the way you do it, because then you can pull it out and create a 3D model. So, And now to complete this double square, we're going to be going down to the middle point right here. So it's kind of hard to tell. You're like, oh, how am I going to get this across? It's pretty easy. Just go down to what you think is the half point, or you go in between the nodes. And this triangle will show up. That is the exact center of whatever line you're using in Fusion 360. Whether it's a line or a circle, this is the exact center of it. So it does not show here. It only shows on sketches. So completed sketches don't count. This does have the directions, though, which is pretty cool. The directional lines on it. So we're going to select that middle point and drag that across to the other center on the other side. There we go. And of course, once you've completed a center to center, it shows that this line was created at the center by that little holographic triangle in the corner. So going from here, we're going to stop the sketch. So this was the first part of it. We created a domino-like shape that can now be turned into a 3D model. And that's what we're going to be getting into next time. But for now, we're just going to be saving. So to save, simply go up into this bar right next to File and Undo. There is the Save button. Just click on that and you get this show up. So you can select the location and then the name. So for this, I'm just going to select X2. I'm just going to name this that. You can name it what you make, whatever you want, and you can save it to wherever you want. So for now, this is going to be, yep, saved. So this is part 1 of my tutorial. Thank you for watching. See you in part 2.